Pastor Joel Osteen, one of the most recognizable televangelists in the world, has long been a symbol of prosperity preaching, positivity, and the promise that faith can uplift anyone. But in recent years, the phrase "things aren't looking good for Pastor Joel Osteen" has taken on a heavier, more complicated meaning. For decades, Osteen built his reputation on hope-filled sermons, televised broadcasts, and books that sold millions worldwide, drawing massive crowds to Lakewood Church in Houston, which became one of the largest congregations in America. Yet behind the bright smile and reassuring words lies a story of mounting controversies, public criticism, and growing doubts about the very message that once made him beloved. Osteen has always emphasized positivity, often avoiding traditional fire and brimstone preaching, instead focusing on how faith can bring personal success. But critics argue that this so-called prosperity gospel has left many disillusioned, especially when they see his luxurious lifestyle, multi-million-dollar mansion, and wealthy image contrasting with the struggles of everyday believers who tuned in searching for comfort in their hardest moments. When Hurricane Harvey devastated Houston in 2017, Osteen faced an intense backlash after critics accused him of being slow to open Lakewood's massive facility to displaced families, a controversy that still shadows him, despite his team's explanations. In the years since, whispers of declining influence, waning trust, and financial scrutiny have surrounded him, leaving many to wonder if the once untouchable figure of American televangelism is now standing on shaky ground. While Osteen continues to preach, write, and broadcast his message, it is impossible to ignore how the world around him has changed. Faith audiences are becoming more skeptical. Younger generations question religious leaders' transparency, and the image of spiritual authority has been dented by scandals across the evangelical world. Even if Osteen himself has never faced criminal charges or moral downfalls on the scale of some of his peers, what makes his situation particularly difficult is that his greatest strength, his polished optimism, has become, in the eyes of many, his greatest weakness, because in moments of real crisis, people feel his words fail to address the raw pain and complexity of suffering, leaving them searching for answers that go beyond encouragement. In recent years, attendance numbers at Lakewood have fluctuated, and though he remains a major presence, some insiders admit that the momentum he once commanded is fading, with critics pointing to the gap between his promises of prosperity and the harsh realities his followers face. Still, Osteen presses forward, presenting himself as unbothered by criticism, continuing to insist that his message is one of love, faith, and hope. Yet the truth is that every new wave of scrutiny chips away at the once unshakable aura that surrounded him. For those who admired him deeply, it is painful to see him constantly targeted, while for skeptics, it seems like long-awaited accountability for a man they believe represents the excesses of modern televangelism. Whichever side people stand on, one fact remains clear: things truly aren't looking good for Pastor Joel Osteen, and his legacy now hangs in the balance between being remembered as a preacher who inspired millions with messages of hope, or as a symbol of how fame, wealth, and faith can collide in ways that leave a once-beloved figure facing doubt, division, and a future more uncertain than ever before.